Hi, Kate Pollan here, your agent with heart. Why do I do what I do? Because I love helping buyers find the perfect property and sellers maximize their profit. In 29 years of selling residential real estate in this marketplace, I've developed unmatched skill, expertise, and a team of professionals to get the job done right, creating happy clients. And so if you're looking to buy, sell residential real estate, whether it's your first, fifth, 10th transaction, give me a call. You want it done by an expert, Kate Pollan, your agent with heart. So welcome to our monthly webcast of what's going on in the market. And hopefully this will give you an idea of how June is shaping up. Happy Home Ownership Month. Yes, June is that special time of year when we get to celebrate being homeowners. Why? Because we're not filling the pockets of a landlord. We are instead building equity for ourselves. And those of you who are not into a home yet and you're still renting, I would love to help you get into your first home. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least you're not throwing money away. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. When people ask me, Kate, how are you today? I just say, hey, I'm having a rainbows, unicorns kind of day, just feeling gay. And that's how the real estate market has been for the last couple of years. Second quarter of 2020 to second quarter of 2022, we'll call those the rainbows and unicorns years because they were an anomaly. And sad too. It's hard to imagine that the real estate community was going strong while people were suffering, loss of life and loss of income and all of that. So it was hard. But not unlike God's promise of a rainbow, which is, he promised us that he wouldn't flood the earth again. And he left the rainbow as a reminder to us of that beautiful promise. So the good with the bad. So anyway, we'll be comparing things with this rainbows and unicorns kind of mindset. So let's take a look because people are going to say, well, things are off this year. They're not as good as they were. Well, yeah, but what are you comparing them to? So in 2020, appreciation dropped to 5%, or 2022 to 5%. It was 18% the year, before. So hold on, we got to compare it to the unicorn years, the two greatest years in American real estate history. An anomaly, something that wasn't supposed to happen. So here's a goofy metaphor, but imagine 2017, 18, 19, as a realtor, I'm just riding a horse and going down the streets and buying and selling real estate. And then all of a sudden in 2020, my horse turns into a unicorn. And things just go kind of hog wild. So 2 great years on that unicorn, and that was exciting. And then lo and behold, we come into 2022 and whoop, my unicorn turns back into a horse. So it's not a bad thing, it's just normal. So people keep on wanting to compare what's happening now with those unicorn years, and it's not right. So let's compare what's happening now to normal years before the unicorn years. So almost like maybe erase the real estate explosion for 2020 and 2021 and just look at the blue lines there. So people might say, oh, pending listings are way down. But compared to the unicorns, not really. So you can see 2017, 18, 19, and then we're above that here in 2022. So almost like erase those unicorn years. And what about our traffic? Oddly enough, we still have lots of people waiting outside our open houses, trying to get in. So buyer traffic is still happening. And so what about these median numbers? Here we're still in showing traffic. So yeah, we're still higher than where we were in 2020, again, erasing the unicorn years. And so how about the median days on the market? That's way up. So way up from what? Oh, the unicorn years. Yeah, okay, so that could be true. In our market here in Colorado, it's still really pretty quick. You don't see a home on the market very long. But if you look at 17, 18, 19, 20, we're still selling houses faster now than we did in those normal years. So make sure we're comparing normalcy to what we call the rainbow and unicorn years. What about homes for sale? Yes, inventory is up, but that's good. We want more homes on the market. It's not bad. So when you're comparing it to the unicorn years, of course, it doesn't really make a ton of sense, but here it does. And so we finished 2019 really strong. We had tremendous listings. These are of May of each year because we want to compare the same month by month. A lot of those listings had fallen off, but we started with so many. But even if we compare it to that, all right, we're still way short on listings. If an agent walked up to me today and said, like, Coach Kate, what's the best thing I could do right now? I'd say, go get a listing. Whatever you can, go get a listing. But we'll talk about that in a minute. First of all, the 10-year treasury will come down some probably by the end of the year. That's what everybody's projecting. And the spread will come down some. If that mortgage rate drops under 6%, you think you have an inventory challenge now, we're going to have people lined up at open houses 4 blocks down. The month's inventory. The month's inventory is up from when? Unicorn years. You get it. If we go to 17, 18, 19, 20, they're not up, they're down. We need listings desperately. So again, the realtors on this call, you already know that, but we have to use these slides and get this information out and educate everybody. So please list your home. So let's not worry about what headlines say, except for the fact that you are reading them. I want to make sure on social media, emails, blogs, videos, that I'm putting out the right information, not Pollyanna type stuff. And so, yeah, we want to keep that tug of war ribbon right in the middle, not pulling people through the media one way, scaring them, or this way, making it seem fake, but getting out the real news like this. Every year we have foreclosures in this country. People get sick, people can't pay their bills, people pass, people get divorced, lose their job, and basically can't afford to pay their mortgage anymore. And as a broker, a realtor, this is my job to help people. So don't let yourself get into that position. I have attorneys lined up that you can talk with to help you out of those tight spots. And I like to help families. And so will foreclosures go back to normal years? Probably. Will people start screaming? Look at the percentage. Yeah, but they'll be comparing them against what? Of course, unicorn years. And that's important. It's important that we get out and speak with people about this. So Mark Davidson from 1000 Watt did a survey of people that were thinking about selling their house. They asked them if they were thinking about selling a house and talked to a realtor, what impact that would have. And almost 2 out of 3 who desired to sell a home within 6 months were more inclined to do so after speaking with an agent. So if you hear of anybody who's looking to buy or sell, please have them give me a call, because 2 out of 3 chances are they will go ahead and list their house. So it's important for your realtor to know the true statistics of what's going on. So mortgage rates. Just by speaking the truth, I can move people into hopefully buying or selling their properties now, not waiting. What winds up taking place is there's going to be a retired couple who's going to want to move near to their grandchildren, and the love of the grandchildren is greater than saving money on a mortgage. The place to get out is now. Start talking with people, let them know, hey, I have somebody who probably needs your house. You don't know it, but they need it. Buy a house now. 3 things can happen with your mortgage rate. They can either go up, then you're glad you bought now, or they can stay the same, which is fine, no problem. or they could go down and then maybe have the opportunity to refinance if that happens. For over 50 years, there's a spread. There's a 10-year Treasury yield, and then there's a spread, something that's added to by the banking industry to form the mortgage rate. That's their piece of the mortgage rate that they get to keep. And for 50 years, that number averaged out to be 1.72. That's the average. So whatever the 10-year Treasury yield was, if you added the 1.72 to the top of that, that would be your mortgage rate. The challenge is, starting from the beginning of this year, we've blown that 1.72 away. We started 1 point above that, meaning mortgage rates were 1 point above where they would normally be. And right where we're over 3 percentage points above that, almost double what the normal rate was. So here you can see that spread, the increase, quite a bit. That's one of the reasons the mortgage rates are so high. This is very, very rare. From George, a chief economist, the only times the spread approached or exceeded 300 basis points, and think of that as 3%. 300 basis points would be like 3% in mortgage lingo, were during periods of high inflation or economic volatility like those seen in the early 80s of the great financial crisis of 2008-2009. Here's a visualization of what he was saying. Very rarely does the spread jump above 3, but we're in one of those times right now. That again is the reason rates are so high. This is from First American Title. It's reasonable to assume that the spread and therefore mortgage rate will retreat the second half of the year if the Fed takes its foot off the monetary tightening pedal and provides investors with more certainty. However, it's unlikely that the spread will return to its historical average of 170 basis points, as some risks are here today. Well, here's a graph explaining it. As of this recording, the 10-year Treasury yield was 3.65%. That's one of the components that makes up the mortgage rate. So you can see here the orange is the spread. If we were at normal spreads, we'd have a 5.37% mortgage rate right now. 5.37. You know what the market would be like if rates went down to 5.37? It'd be crazy. But we're here at a 3.2 number. So at 2.25 right here on the side there, we'd still have mortgage rates under 6%, 5.99. And that's the key. So under 6%, in my opinion, would cause an absolute frenzy in the market. What are the financial benefits of homeownership? Let's go over them quickly. Building equity, building family wealth, building generational wealth, control over your expenses, long-term savings. So every time you pay a mortgage, you could imagine, write your mortgage on one little piece of paper and write rent payment on the other. So take the one that says mortgage and fold it up and put it in your wallet, because every time you make a mortgage payment, you're putting it in the bank. But if you're writing a rent slip out, you can crumple that up and throw that in the wastebasket, the money you're throwing away. So if you want to build your wealth, own a home. If you want to build your landlord's wealth, rent a home. The best investment home that you can buy is a 3-bedroom home. And so if you want to get into investment properties, talk to me about helping you find 3-bedroom homes. How about social benefits to owning a home? So sometimes we get caught up in the money again, like, the mortgage rate, but some things can outweigh that, like we were talking about earlier, whether it's your life changes, what you're doing civilly, financial education, health benefits of owning your own home. Home is where your heart is, and you can paint your bedroom whatever color you want, paint your front door black because most homes that have a black front door sell quicker and at a higher price. Did you know that? Yeah. And so if you're in a rental, that's not going to happen. And in a home, you can even have a home office for a nice tax write-off. Speaking of which, let's talk about the tax benefits. There's the mortgage interest rate deduction, the property tax deduction, the imputed rent, meaning we're saving the money that we're not paying on rent. People tell me, well, if I didn't have a mortgage payment, I would take all that money and put it into the bank. Well, yeah. Would you live in your car? No. You still have a housing expense. You're right. The housing expense, if you're renting now, might be a little bit less than what it would be if you bought a house in this particular moment, but push it out 5, 10 years. If you look back, you won't regret it. I was helping a buyer, probably 5 years ago, trying to find a place in Longmont, and didn't know, couldn't figure it out. I'll just keep renting. And to this day, she's still renting. And I told her, even though we were under contract on a couple houses, I told her, you will not regret this decision 5 years from now. And sure enough, that's the case. So there's a cost of waiting because mortgage rates will come down. Your life situation will change. If you stay in your house, equity is unbelievable. That's just the biggest benefit. Right now, the average equity in the home in the United States is somewhere around $300,000 per house. So if somebody were to sell their house right now, they make $300,000. If you talk to a lot of landlords lately, if they sell their house that you're renting, I'm pretty sure they're not going to give you that money. That's kind of a joke, but true. Homeownership homeownership is the number one feature of the American dream. This slide is beautiful at showing that. Owning a home, they think about owning a home as more important than being able to retire. Funny, huh? What do you think about these numbers here? The median Consumer Insights report that just came out said 78% of Americans associate homeownership with the American dream. So anyone that's telling you, well, I think that homeownership is not really considered the American dream anymore, they're wrong. Ask them where they got their numbers from. Every survey shows the vast majority of Americans think about it. And 3 out of 4 Americans believe it. 65% see homeownership as a means of building intergenerational wealth. According to this Consumer Insights report, 68% of millennials and Gen Z say investing in real estate is a smart decision. 43% of millennials and Gen Z are considering buying an investment property. So don't let people that have opinions that are not backed up by anything sway your opinion that is backed by numbers. Show them the numbers and ask them for theirs. Gallup does this every year. American opinion of what the best long-term investment. This has been a rough year for real estate. The mortgage rates are up, the mortgage payments are up, but still in 2023, real estate was seen as the best long-term investment, better than gold. And it's been voted the best long-term investment for 11 consecutive years. Americans believe in home ownership. What you sell, they want to buy. Here's this in a slide. So yeah, 11 consecutive years. You see that as the mindset. But there's a big but. All the negative headlines that have come out last fall. Well, if you're going to have another housing crash, it's going to be like 2008 all over again. Prices are going to fall 20-25%. They're all wrong. These are wrong things to think of. The impact on all those statements affected the American consumer. Again, as soon as you start reading headlines like that, it brings the consumer confidence way down. So December readings are going all the way back to 2010. The first year they ever did this reading, it took the survey. What we could see that in 2010, 2011, as we were still getting through the financial crisis, those numbers jumped up to 18, 17%, and then it came back down. and things were okay and things seemed to be fine, then all of a sudden in 2022, it skyrocketed to 37%, the highest number ever recorded. It almost doubled the next highest number. That's because there were so many negative headlines last year. Very prominent economists, very prominent global banks were saying the prices were going to fall off the edge of the cliff, but it didn't happen yet. These numbers got better. As we saw climbing into the year, the real estate market didn't crash. The real estate market didn't say, oh, it's over. No, the word that everyone seems to be using is, we can't believe how resilient it's been. So yay, consumers, it's awesome. And it's gotten a little bit better. Now only 31% think prices are going to go down in the next 12 months. 1 out of 3 Americans still think that prices are going to fall this year over the next 12 months. I have to make sure that you understand that's not true. That's my mission right now. So please understand that. Let's go right into home prices and what actually is going to happen. First of all, part of the questioning comes from the median home price. That's the number that NAR reports, and that's what you'll see in my reporting below for the hyperlocal stuff. But that's a number like Redfin and other companies report on. And I actually like to look at median numbers, but we'll talk about what the difference between average and median is in a minute. In this volatile market, median is probably not a great number to look at. The Center for Real Estate Studies at Wichita State University says the median sales price measures the middle price of homes that sold. I always like to say it's the most frequent, meaning that half the homes sold for a higher price and half sold for less. Well, not really. It's not very useful for measuring home appreciation because it is affected by the composition of homes that sold. And that's true too. When we're doing a valuation of a home, there's a lot of things that go into it. When people ask me, how's the market? I always say, well, it depends. Where is the house? Has it been updated? Yada, yada. We're in a market where the median price is going down and regular prices, the real price or the true market value is going up. So here's a simple way to explain median value, and this will maybe get you thinking about it. So if you have 2 nickels and 1 dime, what is really happening with prices? We'll take a look at that. Again, remember last fall, people were saying it's going to fall 5, 10, 25%. Part of the reason that people are not putting the house in the market, they still remember those headlines. So let's unremember that. And part of the reason people aren't buying right now is they remember those headlines also. So let's take a look at the numbers. Case-Shiller. It's a lag. It's only March. The April numbers aren't out yet, but we could see what happened. The beginning of last year, things were taking off and we were flying high. Then in July, came crashing down. I had a listing. I thought I was going to sell it for a lot more than it went for. July, it was like suddenly everything dried up and it was palpable. Interest rates went up. It looked like all of a sudden there was going to be a ton load of listings coming on the market, but it didn't happen. Some people were projecting that, myself included. I thought it would be a flood of homes on the market. Now, still continue to have hyper low inventory. And the negative headlines came out that prices would fall. Well, think again. How about FHFA? What do they say? Prices are stabilizing. They look at a slightly different set of data, so the numbers are slightly different, but the overall trend is exactly the same. We had a rough second half of the year, and now we're coming back. Yay! CoreLogic. CoreLogic says prices are stabilizing. Let's look at the trend. So if we put all 3 of them together and look at the trends, they're all saying the same thing. The 3 most reputable home price indexes are all saying the same thing. We had a great first half of 2022. We had a rough second half, and now we're on our way back. But we're not sure that everything's going to be green from this point forward. I'll keep you abreast of that. But that cascading down, that falling off a cliff, that 25% they were speaking of, nah, didn't happen. What about Zillow? Okay, I know about half of us on this call think that Zillow is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Myself, maybe some of you brokers out there feel it's like the devil incarnate, but either way, the public looks to Zillow, the almighty Zillow, for numbers and home prices. But even Zillow is saying the same thing. So good first half of the year, bad second half, and we're coming back. What about Fannie Mae? Fannie Mae, they do quarterly, not month over month. They do quarter over quarter, but what do they say? Same thing. Great 2021, then great finish, first half 2022, second half fell off, and then now we're back up again. Back in 2008, it took us almost 6 years for the bar to turn green again, and here it's only taken 6 months, 2 quarters. This is going to be hopefully, the time where we'll see a lot more houses coming on the market and relieve some of that stress of not having enough inventory. When we're talking about getting out there and speaking to the public, I thought this was an interesting thing to bring up. I have positioned myself with a company that builds relationships locally and builds home ownership locally with a global reach, which is so exciting because a lot of my clients are looking to get investment properties in other countries, and now I can help them with that, or other states, and I can help them with that. Please have your people call my people, and would like to make that happen. I want to make home ownership a reality for everyone, and part of that is offering some value added to my client base. So I want to help the families, the individuals who are thinking about buying or selling, and help them in this marketplace, because I've seen it go up and down. I've seen higher interest rates than this. This is nothing. So I offer a summer buyer and seller guide, and you can grab that off my website. The link is down below. And I want to end this chat by talking about the difference between an agent and a realtor with a capital R. So that's a trademark, and that trademark is part of the National Association of Realtors. As part of eXp Realty, I'm required to be a member of a board of realtors, which is a local group of peers who hold me to a higher level of ethics. Ask the person you're working with, are you a realtor? It makes a difference, it really does. And I don't normally talk about things like that, but it's important to me and the better good of society. The ethical responsibility of being a realtor. I sign my name to it. Part of that is in this code, patriotism. So I actually ran an event this past week. It was super fun for agents, playing some pickleball here in South Boulder. And so I love just celebrating Flag Day and being patriotic on that day. So that's just like a little personal note. And so the 4 most important words in the Code of Ethics, it's a code. So it's standards we adhere to as an individual or a group. It's a code we live by, ethics, moral principles that govern my behavior. And how ethical are we? I'm not talking about sins of commission, I'm talking about sins of omission. If I'm not out there trying to let you know that the real estate market's fine and that you could move forward with your dreams, that's a sin of omission if I'm not doing that. So hopefully today you have a breather and you can go ahead and freely sell and buy real estate without being nervous. As far as home sales go, we still have opportunities in the front range to be able to be buying investment properties and individual homes, condos, land, farms. Whatever your dream is, I would love to help make that happen for you. Just give me a call, Kate Paulin, your agent with heart. Check back next month for another rousing monthly update.
That's that's the long and short of it. For June 2023, Kate Collin, your agent with heart. Give me a call. I'd love to help you realize the beauty of homeownership.